Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United Ralph Rangnick press conference reaction for the Aston Villa game, where we've had some quite interesting information around the transfer activity potentially going on at Manchester United. Also, there's a bit of a story from Manchester Evening News that I think people are getting excited about, because Manchester United are looking at their summer transfer targets. So people are putting 2 and 2 together and getting 6, saying, oh, we must have our manager. No, we haven't. The story around that I can give you quite clearly is that Manchester United do work on their summer transfer targets from way before the summer starts sometimes. And sometimes, you know, I think Griezmann a few years ago, we were working on that in the October. So effectively, the situation at United is that this doesn't mean we've got a manager. This doesn't mean Pochettino's got a WhatsApp group telling people who to go and get. United have got a sporting director in Murta, and they've got a technical director in Fletcher. They've also got Ralph Rangnick, who's going to take on a consultancy role in July if he doesn't get the job. Those are the 3 people drawing up a list for the summer. The new manager will come in and potentially veto those if he doesn't like them. So, for example, if United decide they want to sign Declan Rice, and Rangnick agrees, and Fletcher agrees, and Murta agrees, and that's the player that they're putting the work in for in the summer, and then they give the job to Ten Hag, and he says, I don't want Declan Rice, I've got a player at Ajax who's I can get for 15 million who's better, they won't sign Declan Rice. So it doesn't mean that we've got a new manager. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get into the press conference. Obviously, massive game for Manchester United against Aston Villa tomorrow. Some really interesting comments again from Ralph Rangnick. Detailed answers about the way we're playing and issues around confidence, etc, etc. Some of those questions were shite, says Catherine. What do they expect him to say? My players are not capable of anything. Also, we should buy Proctor the doctor. I thought Rangnick's answers were good, Catherine, as we dive into it. But I thought some of the questions were a bit crap. I think there should have been a direct question about Zakaria. There's been enough going on. These are journalists. They're not bloody, surgeons. They're journalists. Their life revolves around speculation. They should have asked a question about Zakaria. They at least should have asked a question about a midfield recruit. And they should have asked a question about Cristiano Ronaldo's interview. And we didn't get that. Now, we might get it in the embargoed section, but I thought Rangnick's press conference was good. I just, again, would question the questions from the journalists. And look, I don't know whether they're told they can't ask certain questions or not. I don't know. But let's go into it. So, first of all, let's talk about the injuries. Let's get the boring bit out of the way, or exciting bit for some of you. Ronaldo, Maguire, Jones, Sancho, he said he expects all of them to play tomorrow. There is a final training session this afternoon, and we'll see how it goes in that, but he expects them all to play. They all trained yesterday. Maguire trained the day before. Look, to be honest with you, absolutely, I'm not going to, as I said, after the game on Monday, I find myself getting less frustrated and more understanding of the issues at Manchester United. That doesn't mean I'm happy about them, but as I said, Harry Maguire should not start that game tomorrow night. He doesn't deserve to start. Phil Jones was man of the match against Wolves. Lindelof is better than him. He doesn't deserve to walk straight back into that team. United need to start making a stand. We've had 2 weeks of conversation about bad attitude, bad performances, low morale, divided dressing rooms. You don't halt that by allowing players to walk straight back into the team when they don't deserve to do it. Just because they've got the captain's armband, just because they cost £80 million. He shouldn't start tomorrow night, but I guarantee he will. And if he does start, then he might be man of the match, because ultimately, as I said on the morning show, Maguire plays well in a team that defends deep. And if we defend deep and the fullback's tuck in and he's got 2 midfielders in front of him, he'll probably have a good game. But I'm telling you now, if we want to play in the way that Rangnick talks about in the press conference, where he wants to play aggressive, controlled, confident football, then we'll never be able to do that with Harry, because he can't do it. You can't leave him on his own. You need, in the harshest possible sense, whether it's England or Manchester United, whenever he plays well, he's got somebody close by him. He needs a babysitter. He shouldn't play tomorrow, but I fully expect him to play tomorrow, and I wouldn't be expecting him not to. Shimra says, I know Donny wants to play to have a chance to get in the World Cup squad, but we have a lot of competition for those spots. That got me worried, says Shimran. Well, yeah, I'm going to talk about Donny van der Beek, but let me just finish up on the injuries, because he also spoke about Dean Henderson as well. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching. So Ronaldo, there was a scare about Ronaldo, but Ronaldo is going to train this afternoon, and we'll see what happens with that. We need Ronaldo tomorrow. I think after such a powerful interview and a poor performance against Villa on Monday night, we do need Ronaldo. He still will be very dependent on service. I think if he'd played on Monday, we still would have played crap. The service was terrible, but we need Ronaldo. We need that boost. We need that leadership. We need that fear factor. He does bring a bit of fear factor, which I don't think many teams are scared. And I'm not saying Villa are scared of us, but Ronaldo does give a little bit of a fear factor because he's one of the greatest players in the world. So hopefully Ronaldo will play. And obviously Jones and Sancho should be fit as well. He spoke about the Donny van de Beek. He was asked about Donny van de Beek and Dean Henderson directly. And this is probably one of the better questions. He was asked about Donny van de Beek and what the situation is with him. And basically he said, I'm glad to have him. Obviously he wants to play. He's another player that plays at a high level in training. And this, to me, is just where I just want to jump in a minute and say that there is a real confusion, I think, in the fan base around the Donny van de Beek situation, because this is the second manager now, but this was the same story under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He wasn't getting picked, and not only is he not getting picked, the minutes he gets are abysmal. Like, I think in Rangnick's first 4 or 5 Premier League games, he'd played 5 minutes. So look, if he was a genuine bench player who comes on for the last half an hour or last 20 minutes every game, there'd be something to build on, but it's suppression. Like he doesn't, even when we're playing badly in the midfield, he doesn't get 20 minutes. We will still keep on McTominay and Fred or McTominay and Matic, even when they're playing shit. Like, what was the game that we played recently where it was Wolves. McTominay and Matic were diabolical for 90 minutes, and he kept them on. I think he kept them both on for 90 minutes, or pretty much. That's the sort of game where Donny van de Beek should come on for 20 minutes or half an hour or even start the game. And he doesn't. So I just find it really hard to read the situation, because everybody I've spoken to, whether it's on the record or off the record, he trains really well. We've had Luke Shaw publicly say Donny van de Beek trains really well. We've had Ollie say it. We've had Rangnick say it. The general consensus that he's really good in training. The general consensus actually is a lot of players in that squad don't understand why he doesn't get more game time, because he plays so well in training. So you've got a player that plays really well in training, who's got a great attitude, but gets absolutely shit on and never gets to start games or never hardly plays. I'm only giving you the situation. I have no solution. I just don't understand it. I really, really don't. But you do get some fans who go, he must be crap in training. Well, he's not. He's not crap in training. There's no evidence that he's crap in training, but some people go, he's obviously crap in training. That's why he doesn't get picked. But he's not. That's not the reason. I don't know what the reason is, but anyway. So he goes on to say that obviously Donny van de Beek wants to play. I've advised him to stay until the end of the season, but he wants to play in the World Cup. Louis van Gaal has told him that if he wants to be in the World Cup squad, he's got to play more regularly for his team. But obviously we've got lots of competition for places here in the positions he wants to play, so it's difficult. So, I mean, look, I like Rangnick when he's asked a question. He gives a very succinct and direct, honest answer most of the time. And effectively, Rangnick's stance is, I want him to stay till the summer. And there is competition for places, but I understand that he wants to play in the World Cup and he wants to play first team football. This is a recurring theme at Manchester United, where Rangnick, to be fair, has come into that job just over a month ago. He obviously wants to keep as many players as he can because he's trying to get a job. He's going to become the consultant, but he's made it very clear that he wants the manager's job. So the best thing for him is to have as many options as possible and as big a squad as possible in case things go wrong. You look at some teams like Burnley, they've just cancelled another game because they haven't got enough players. You don't want to be in that situation. You want to have good squad options. And in fairness to Ralf Rangnick, I understand why he said to Donny van de Beek, I want you to stay until the end of the season. And look, that's I don't know whether you'd get that sort of a quote from the previous manager, but we get it from this manager. I've told him, I advise him to stay until the end of the season, but it's very short term in what I'm trying to say is that whenever Rangnick speaks about Donny, it's not in the way that I'm sort of past it now. I accept that Donny van de Beek's career at Manchester United is pretty much over. even though it's never really been given a chance. I still think it's pretty much over. I still think there's some people out there that are really hoping it's going to work out. I remember at the start of the season, people were saying he's bulked up, this is his year, and I said I don't think it will be. Ollie's already made it very clear that he doesn't want to use him. Same with Delo. It's only since Ollie's gone that maybe there's a chance. But when Rangnick says I've advised him to stay till the end of the season, I mean, basically, let's interpret that. And I do like Rangnick, but this is basically what he's saying. I want him to stay until the end of the season so we've got cover and then he can go. That, to me, that's what he's saying. I've advised him to stay till the end of the season because that helps Rangnick, it helps United because they've got midfield options. It doesn't help Donny. And to be honest with you, I was thinking about it when he said that. If we're keeping Donny, who doesn't play, to be midfield cover until the end of the season and then he can go, that to me means we're just going to see more and more of McTominay and Fred in the midfield and Donny won't get used. If Donny forces a move in January, if he's going in the summer anyway, if Donny goes in January, we've got to get a midfielder in January who might be better than McTominay and Fred. So maybe the best solution for everybody is that Donny goes in January. And I've got to be honest, I really want him to work out at United, but ultimately, it just sounds to me like we've told him to stay until the summer and he can go because we need cover. And I don't think that benefits anybody. I mean, he won't get picked anyway between now and the summer. If he wants to go to the World Cup, he needs to force a move. Now, whether he can get that move or not, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't really have a massive problem with Rangnick. I think he's got every right to do what he wants to do. I think the chances for Donny should have come a long, long time before now. But as Hello says, I just think let him go. Let him go and build his career. He doesn't really owe United anything to sit on the bench for another 4 months just in case we have an injury crisis. And remember, Pogba's going to be back soon. So, look, I hope something develops around Donny van der Beek. I mean, I really hope it develops by him starting the game tomorrow, but I'm not expecting that. But I'm getting to the point now where, you know, obviously Manchester United is the priority, but I think the lad deserves a move now. I think he's waited patiently enough. He's not been used, and if he does go, we might go for a midfielder. Because interestingly, I was reading in the Manchester Evening News this morning. There's a story from Samuel Lucker saying that midfielder is a priority in the summer, and so is an attacker. The problem with any deal at the moment, and what makes it unlikely, is how bloated the squad is. So, yeah, I mean, look, I still believe and hope, well, I believe's a big word. I'm still very optimistic that we will bring in the midfielder that we need to. But it feels to me that United are, you know, even what Rangnick says about Van der Beek, and we'll speak about what he said about Henderson, and he said it about Cavani as well. Cavani's been persuaded to stay till the end of the season. There seems to be, and it's expected, there seems to be this interim mentality from the board all the way down to the club. And Rangnick is reinforcing it. So Donny wants to go now. Wait till the end of the season. Henderson wants to go now. Wait till the end of the season. Cavani's looking at a move. Wait till the end of the season. What happens at the end of the season? Oh, you can go now. We're fine. It's basically asking, you know what it is? It's like, you know, I don't know whether you've ever worked in the hospitality business or, you know, you've worked in a bar or a restaurant. And, you know, like, it's Saturday night. Your shift ends at 10, but the bar doesn't close till midnight. And you know, it's a bit busy than normal. Can you just stop on till 12 and then you can go? You know, it feels a little bit like that with Donny, you know, and others. Look, we've just got this plan till the summer. We just need to get by until the summer, stay until the summer, and then you can go. And that's, you know, interim. That's the problem with an interim, isn't it? That's the trouble. United seem to have bought into this interim thing themselves. And I'm telling you, my strong theory, unless Rangnick can work a bloody miracle and get these players playing something like they've not played in a long time, we seem to be sat on our hands going, let's just get by to the summer and we'll sort it out. But the problem with waiting till the summer is top four could be gone and you might be back in the Europa League, and then you've got a whole world of pain on top of now. I really do think that we are, and I've said this before as well, you know, you're driving down to London or wherever you're driving and you're looking at your fuel and you're going, oh, half a tank left. And on some cars, it can actually tell you how many miles you've got left before you run out of petrol. And you're like, oh, 150 miles left of petrol. Oh, there's a sign to London. Oh, 155 miles. Oh, well, I might just make it. And that's what it feels like United are doing. If they don't buy somebody in the January transfer window, it feels like they're just going, can you stay till the summer? Let's just get by till the summer. Get to the summer and everything will be all right. But it might rain in the summer. United should be ashamed of themselves how they treat Donny like this. He deserves to play more often, says United Empire. I mean, I've sort of progressed from the Donny argument, to be honest with you. I mean, I suppose it's the realisation. It's the 7 stages of grief, isn't it? And I think it's the realisation that this is just not going to work out. And I think he's got to look after himself. And by that happening, it might prompt us to buy a midfielder, which I think is absolutely... I like Donny van de Beek. I really think he could have made a really big difference in that midfield pivot. I think he could have played there. And I think he could have been better than Fred or McTominay. But it's only speculative. I don't know, because it's not been allowed to happen. But what I do know is happening is we've got this player I believe could have solved the problem, that won't be allowed to solve the problem, who is sat on the bench like a statue. The obvious solution for me now is that they're not going to use this player I think could work there. So let's take that player away and bring somebody else in who might get a chance to remove the 2 players that I don't really think are good enough in that role. And certainly when you look at McTominay, the only thing he really seems to be good at is on the opposition's edge of the box, which he can't do if he's staying in the midfield too with Fred, because he can't sit on his own. So I just think we need a midfielder. United are trying to coast to the summer, and it could really backfire. It honestly feels like they're using some players just for their benefit. Well, Logan, very, 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 very to the point, and very, very nail on the head. It sounds to me, with these players, we're just saying you can go, but you can go in the summer. That's I wouldn't like that as a United player either. If I'm saying I want to go now and they're going, you can't go now, but we'll let you go in the summer, can you just hang on for a few months? I'd be like, swivel on it. I want to go now. Of course, on the other hand, you've got Pogba and Lingard who are happy to, we probably want them to go now, and they're like, no, I'm going to wait till the summer. So United might be treating Donny and Henderson quite badly by not letting them go now, but they're getting it back from Lingard and Pogba, who they want to go now and are going to walk out the door for nothing, or they're going to have to pay him big money to make him stay. So that's what he said about Donny van de Beek. Just before I talk about Dean Henderson, because I don't want to make it too transfer heavy, let's just talk about some of the issues that Van de Beek was spoken about. He was asked a question, I think it was Simon Stone said, look, what's going on in training? You're speaking a lot after games about issues. What are you doing about those issues in training? Think we go for Dybala in the summer, says Stuart Walker. I doubt it, but you never know. We've been linked to him before. He said, look, we're a work in progress, and we're not going to solve this overnight at Manchester United. We're conceding less goals, that's a fact, but we're not controlling games. And, you look at the next 3 games and it's about getting the right system for the right players. We might see different formations in different games. We might see different formations within games. And I think what becomes very clear from Rangnick, because he was also asked about what areas he needs to improve. And he said, there's 2 areas really. It's about, it's the simple things like controlling the game when you've got the ball and controlling the game when you haven't got the ball. But he did give quite a big insight. He said, look, we've made a few steps forward, but it's not been as quick as I'd like it to be. I'm an impatient coach, and ultimately it's not been as quick as I would like it to be. And really, the bottom line is results. So it's about getting results in the next few games, and alongside that, trying to develop as well. I think that's such an honest answer that, again, some people would just not listen to it and go, all right, yeah. But when you look at what, I think Rangnick always gives you the answer. It's just how deep you want to go into it, the answer that he gives. And what he's basically saying there is he didn't expect it to take this long to get these players playing the way he wants. That is a statement that these players are not good enough. Because he will have seen what happened at Chelsea with Tuchel, and it happened a lot quicker. He changed Chelsea a lot quicker than Rangnick has been able to do with these United players. And by his own admission in this very interview, he said, it's not been as quick as I wanted it to be, and I am impatient, but I've got to look at results as well. So what he's basically saying is that these players aren't good enough for the system that he wants to play, and they're not taking it on board as quick as he thought they would. So basically what he's doing is he's having to try and get the results he needs and prioritise that, while style of play and how he wants to play hopefully comes along the way. So, I think what Rangnick wanted by this point was to be playing the football that he's notorious for and getting results. What's actually happening is we're grinding out results. We're not playing the football he wants. And at some point, I think he's hoping that we can keep getting the results. And at some point, they will meet and we'll start playing well as well. So very, very insightful there from Rangnick to his frustrations that we're not at the level he thought we would be. And it's taking longer than he thought. One interesting thing he did say, and I don't think, it wasn't attached to that. It was a question he was asked right at the start of the interview. Has the I suppose the job been as expected? And one interesting thing he did say was that we Goldbridge. Okay, thank you very much. Keep Van der Beek till summer because Ten Hag likes him, says Sam. Yeah, I don't think that's why we're thinking to looking to keep him. To be honest, I don't think Ten Hag will get the United job. But he did say this: has it been as expected? And he said the thing that has surprised me is that the lower teams in the league are tactically more astute and they're physical and they're not easy to beat, and they can beat the top teams. And I think he's half right on that. I think actually, and I don't think he meant this, but when he gave that reply, I think it was more evidence of our players not being good enough, because I think Rangnick genuinely has been surprised by Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley's, these teams that are down near the bottom that have given us a good game. But when he said that, it's never easy and the top teams can lose a game, whereas in Germany, Bayern Munich would win 8 or 9 out of 10 against the bottom 3. Well, Man City do. Liverpool pretty much do. Chelsea have been a bit dodgy this season, admittedly, and then they drew at home to Burnley. But I do think the standard, the Premier League's the best league in the world, and I think that some of the teams in the Premier League, especially around the mid-table area, the Brightons, that they're very dangerous. But the Norwich, the Newcastles, the Burnleys, I disagree with Rangnick when he said that they're tactically astute and they're physical and they're better than what you get abroad and they can take points off the top teams. Somebody will probably give me evidence, but I can't think of Newcastle, Norwich or Burnley consistently taking points off any of the top sides this season, apart from us. I disagree with Ralph on that one. I don't think the bottom teams are, competitive for the top teams. I think they're competitive against us because our players aren't good enough. And maybe he meant that in a, because Rangnick sometimes gives an answer and then there's a real deeper answer underneath it. Maybe that's what he's saying in an indirect way. Maybe he is saying that. What I think is that we've struggled against Norwich and Newcastle, especially, who I think were better than us in both games. And I think that surprised Rangnick. I think it really did. I think when Rangnick was playing Norwich and Newcastle, he expected to win those games because of the players that we've got and the players they've got and where we are in the league and where they're in the league. And I think that did surprise him. But I think the reason he may be thinking it's surprising him is that the league's more competitive. Well, look at what Man City do. Look at what Liverpool do. The reason we struggled against Newcastle and Norwich is because our players ain't good enough at the end of the day. Or their attitude's not right. He was asked about confidence issues as well within the team. And he said that it's about balance. And realistically, he spoke about this quite a lot. We've got to look at how we play the game with balance, and he actually said this. He said it's about how many players we can commit to attacking without conceding goals. And that sounds very, very simplistic, but football is very simplistic. And what he's basically saying is that we want to attack, but we also don't want to concede. So it's figuring out how many players we can use to attack whilst not conceding, which brings me, I've used this 3 days in a row now and I can use it again. So in this system here, if you play Harry Maguire with Victor Lindelof, as we saw last season, you can't commit many people to attack because Harry and Victor together, we know, Harry the Hoover and Victor the Vacuum, they need their fullbacks and they need their midfield 2 in front of them. So you can't commit many players to the attack. If you take Harry Maguire out of the team and you put Rafael Varane in, although he's wearing number 4 there, you can push your line higher and you can commit more players into the attack. So, for me, that's what I read about what Rangnick's saying there, and I think he's absolutely correct as well. How how many players can he commit to the attack without conceding goals? If we play a high line with Maguire and Lindelof, we'll concede a lot of goals. We've seen it already this season. If we try and attack teams with Maguire and Lindelof, like we did against Liverpool at home, we'll get smacked up. Like we did against Leicester, we'll get smacked up. Like we did against Watford, we'll get smacked up. So, he's right. It's about how many players he can commit going forward without leaving us too open at the back, which is one of the big problems Solskjaer had this season. So these are all issues he's having to solve on the hop. It's never an ideal time to bring a manager in, but having said that, we're playing Villa tomorrow. Gerrard came in November. He's doing pretty well. Last year, Tuchel came in January. He did very well. Conte at Spurs, I mean, he's doing better than Nuno. I know they're not in the Carabao Cup final, but, Paint Pratt, says Adam. If you know, you know. He did also speak about Dean Henderson. Let me just say what he says there. He was asked about the Dean Henderson. Now, obviously, there's been rumours around Dean Henderson. But, again, very similar to what he said about Van der Beek. Dean Henderson wants to play. I've told him that I want him to stay. We've got 3 competitions and I'd like to have 3 goalkeepers. I don't know why. Maybe somebody in the chat knows about European football in the sense about goalkeeping politics. Why do we need 3 goalkeepers? We need 2 goalkeepers. I know there's a modern infatuation with sometimes having 3 goalkeepers, but really you need 2. And we don't need 3. And we've got Lee Grant. He'll never play in a million years anyway, but we don't need 3 goalkeepers. We've got De Gea, Heaton, and if we really have problems, you've got Grant. So we don't need Dean Henderson to stay. I don't know why Ralph keeps going on about needing 3 goalkeepers. He said that he was fantastic in training yesterday, but he understands that it is at his age. He has a desire to be a number 1 goalkeeper in the Premier League, and their end of the lesson, really. Antak says about COVID. I think COVID, again, is probably why United are so reluctant to let players go. But it's a double-edged sword, which I'll talk about in a minute. You make a good point there. Totally agree, says HJ Joe. So yeah, with Henderson, it's the same old thing again. And look, I know Henderson's not necessarily popular with some people, but I haven't got a problem with Henderson. I never did. I had a problem with the media last year pushing Henderson over De Gea when I knew De Gea was the better goalkeeper, and that's why I got quite animated about it. I've always known that Dean Henderson's a good goalkeeper. I just don't think he's good enough to take De Gea's places, which has been proven rightly this season. He's too good to be sat on the bench, way too good to be sat on the bench, and I blame United for paying £110,000 a week. Dean Henderson's on £110,000 a week. That's probably the same as Bruno. I think Bruno's on around that. It might even be more than Bruno. Ridiculous amount of money to not play football. So look at the financial outlay as well. It's ridiculous. But ultimately, I respect Dean Henderson because he wants to play football. And there is no win in him being told, can you stay till the summer, Dean? Piss off. Why? Why am I staying till the summer? In case David De Gea gets injured. Are you going to play me in goal? No, it's David's place. Well, let me go then. Oh, but we'd really like you to stay. Sod off. Use me or let me go. And I think that you can't, again, this is very different to Pogba and Lingard, who are like, will you leave so we can get some money? No. But you've been here for 6 years. You've been here since you were a kid. Don't care. We won't get any money. Not bothered running my contract down. It's very different to a player who could just sit there on 110k a week and go, yeah, I will sit here and wait till the summer. We'll see what happens, eh? He wants to play. Donny van der Beek wants to play. Martial wants to play. Mata wants to play. There's 3 or 4 players that want to play football that aren't being picked here. And we're going, please stay till the summer. So just in case something goes wrong. He wants to play football, and I think he. Hi, HJ says come to South Korea. What, Dean Henderson? So, yeah, I think Dean Henderson deserves to go. I think Donny deserves to go. If that's what they want to do, that's what they should be allowed to do. Mark, I hope United play 4-3-3 and hopefully play some good football, because every time United play, we play slow and boring football, says Joshua. David Hare is at the bottom of... I'm not looking at these stats. I can't believe... I'm very grateful for this. So there's a comment in the chat. just before we move on to the point about the double-edged sword with United. I meant to mention this on the evening show. It's Friday night show tonight at 8 o'clock, so it's a bit more of a Q&A, a bit more relaxed. Get a drink if you want and all that jazz. And I am doing Twitch at 3 today if you want to tune in on Goldbridge TV Twitch. But a couple of things to talk about. First of all, I just saw somebody in the chat saying that David De Gea's stats this season are rubbish compared to everybody. Blah, blah, blah. That's why stats are a load of shite. Because I tell you what, if David De Gea's stats are so bad this season, why is it he's been voted Player of the Month loads of times and he's everybody's Player of the Year? So stats are more important than people's eyes and opinion. Okay, all right, I'll give that one. But the second thing I wanted to say about David De Gea is, and I couldn't believe this, there is actually a cult on Twitter of United fans that cannot stand David De Gea. I only came across it this week because I saw a tweet, someone tagged me in it, where after the game against Villa, I'm doing my player ratings and they've clipped my player rating of David De Gea, where I think I gave him 7 and said, didn't put a foot wrong today, crosses on the ground, on the floor, made some good saves, and his distribution was good. So that got clipped by the cult of David De Gea, anti-David De Gea, and we're like, this man's drunk, oh, he's so biased. And I was just looking at, and it wasn't one, it actually had quite a bit of interaction. There was quite a few retweets, there's quite a few likes, and there was a lot of comments. And I was like, this is our Player of the Year, without doubt, multiple Player of the Months, multiple massive saves, and there's people in our fan base who don't rate him. And I'm like, welcome to the world of football fans. It's great. In a way, it's great. It's absolutely great that people have different opinions. But it is great that people have different opinions. I've got no problem with that at all. But I just couldn't believe it. Doesn't mean my opinion can't be shock and, not shock and awe, shock and stunned. It's going to take time with this team and we are going to see good results and bad ones. Let's just hope we get the players we really need and get rid of the ones we don't deserve to be there, says United Empire. But you know what, United Empire? I actually agree with you, but in a different sense, I disagree with you, because all these fans who are going, it's going to take time, are you therefore accepting that we will be in the Europa League and lose Ronaldo in the summer then? Is that part of your time plan? Because this is where my urgency comes from. It's all right saying it's going to take time. Let's wait and see. Let's wait till the summer and before we make big changes. In the summer, there's a big chance we'll be in the Europa League. And if that happens, I cannot say that it definitely will happen, but I cannot envisage Cristiano Ronaldo going, yeah, I won't bother playing in the Champions League in one of the last seasons of my career when I'm just about to miss out on the World Cup potentially as well. I'll stay and play Thursday night football. I can't see it. So, all right, it might take time, but we haven't got time. We've seen this season our midfield get dominated by teams like Newcastle, Norwich, Watford. We've got 4 months left of this season. The weakness is the midfield, and we're going to think we can claw points back to get 4th place from a position of weakness. We need to buy a bloody midfielder, and we need to do it now. It's not on the players to play or not, it's on the manager. Why should they stay when asked to until the season? They get big wages, says Suya. If we're a business, we are shite. David is a United legend, says Reddy. And Mark, if you want to be truly shocked, go to United Sam Twitter account, says Lucas Wade. Wow, look, I don't want to be targeting different people. It's, everyone's got entitled to an opinion, but there are some weird agendas out there, which makes me laugh because I don't actually have an agenda against any player apart from I want Man United to win. And as McTominay was man of the match against Burnley. I was happy to give it him. If it's Fred tomorrow, I'll be happy to give it him. If Maguire plays and scores a hat-trick tomorrow, I'll give him man of the match. I'm not bothered. I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're United players. To be a United player, in my mind, they're going to have to be consistent for a lot longer than one game. But ultimately, surely, the aim for all of us is that we just... I mean, look, I said this last night on That's Football. What do you want from Manchester United? What do you want from your football club? I'll tell you what I want. I don't want favourites. I like having... I like Ronaldo. Don't we all? I do like Luke Shaw. I do like Bruno Fernandes. I do like David De Gea. I do like Varane. I do like Rashford. I do like Martial. There are players that I like. Sancho as well. I like Pogba. But ultimately, what I would like to be in is a position where we've got 20 players that I like. And if he doesn't pick Bruno tomorrow because he's picking Donny, I'm like, okay, fine. You know, I want to be in, because it's the team. It's Manchester United. That's what I want to win. I really don't want to be involved in talking about individual players. I just want a squad of 20 players that I like, and then the manager can pick whatever bloody 11 he likes. So, but we're miles off that. We really are. I'm very positive that we're holding out for Jimmy Garner's comeback. Wouldn't surprise me. Also, I've sent you a powerful photo on Instagram, says John Jordan. Thank you very much, John. I think that United are in a bit of a double-edged sword here, though, because I think that it's very clear to me at the moment, the noise coming out of the club and how they're acting is that they think they can get top 4 with what they've got, and then they can do big changes in the summer. That's very clear to me. They think they can get top 4 with what they've got, and then you make the big changes in the summer. And you know, it's up to you to what you think, I don't think we can get top 4 with what we've got. I don't. So I'm expecting Europa League football next year, and I'm expecting a summer where we could lose Ronaldo. And maybe others. I just don't think we deserve top 4. So how are we going to improve? We're totally reliant on Rangnick turning players that maybe not good enough into players that are good enough, which is very difficult to do. So I think we need to buy a midfielder at least in January. But it's a double-edged sword for United. And to be fair, I understand why people are saying we're not buying anyone in January, because if you wanted to buy somebody in January, we've got a bloated squad. So United are obsessed with moving players out before they move players in. Well, you know, Donny wants to go. No, please stay till the summer. Henderson wants to go. Please stay till the summer. Martial, they're willing to get let go on loan. Who is it they're trying to... You know, I suppose the obvious thing is that they are just trying to get by till the summer and get top 4. There isn't a lot of... there doesn't appear to be a lot of aggression in the January transfer market that maybe there should be. And what I mean by that is there are definitely players that they could move on in January and move in. I mean, you know, it's like go and give us your example of how you would do it, because there's multiple ways of doing it. You could sell Dean Henderson for 30 million, and then you could buy Hedera from Leipzig and release on his release clause. You could loan Donny van der Beek, loan Anthony Martial, and from the fees you get for those, you could get Zakaria in, because, you know, there are loan deals. I think United wanted 3 to 6 million for Martial to go on loan for 6 months. You know, I think, you know, so you could do that. You could move a couple of loan players out and you could bring in Zakaria. So there are different ways of solving this puzzle. Are we doing that? It seems to me we're going for the easy option. Instead of moving some of these unhappy players on, we're like, keep these... I mean, look, just before I say those words, I can hear them back, and it's totally illogical. So you could move a couple of players out on loan or sale in January, a couple of unhappy players out, and bring a new happy player in. What do United want to do? They don't want to bring a new happy player in. They want to keep the unhappy players until summer. That's a great idea, isn't it? Keeping unhappy players at the club at a pivotal point in the season. Like, it's just, but this goes beyond Rangnick. This goes beyond the players. This goes beyond coaches. This goes back to the people who really make the decisions. We're begging people to stay at the club who aren't happy to help us out in a situation where we're not playing well. How's that going to work then? These unhappy players are suddenly going to start being happy again for 4 months. The most logical thing, it's like Ronaldo hinted at it himself. It's not always nice, but when bad things are happening, you have to change them. And to me, that means you get a couple of that unhappy players out and you bring a new player in. And it just changes the dynamic. Mark, this Bruno hate has been started by a previous member of United Stand. I'm sure you know who it is. Sad individual, says Amet. Look, I don't live in the agenda world. I think we've seen it from... unfortunately, I'll put my hand up and say that look, if you can call it an industry, it can have a very negative impact on football. The agenda-driven thing, and it's not just Manchester United; it's other clubs do it as well. They have their favourites, they ignore them when they play badly, and they have people that they decide they don't like. To me, that's not football. That is not football, because if you... Right, we're Manchester United fans in the main, right? Okay, so if I like Ronaldo, but I don't like Bruno, and I like Harry Maguire, but I don't like Varane, then I'm going to spend a lot of my time talking to you about how great Ronaldo is and how great Maguire is and how shit Varane is and how shit Bruno is. Even if one of them's playing badly and one of them's playing goodly, it's agenda, isn't it? So when Ronaldo has a bad game, oh, he wasn't that bad. When Bruno has an okay game, oh, he was shit. That's not what we're here for, surely. We're here to support our team. Manchester United, I want Manchester United to win. Now, if Ronaldo has a bad game, I've got to call it out. Even though he's one of my favourite players, I've got to call it out. And if Harry Maguire has a great game, I've got to call it out, even though I don't think he's good enough. Because it's what's best for Manchester United. But I think around this industry, fan content, whatever you want to call it, I'm very aware of it. It's been going on for years. You will get people who adore certain players no matter how shit they play. And then other players they will hate no matter how well they play. And that's not a conversation I really want to get into because it's agenda and I don't do agenda. I've been accused of it, but I don't. If you watch the channel, I don't. I've got no problem with giving Scott McTominay man of the match. I've got no problem with saying Anthony Martial was crap last season. Even though he's one of my favourite players, I'm going to be honest. Because ultimately, the way Martial was playing last season, he needed to be dropped because it was damaging Manchester United. And McTominay against Burnley was man of the match, and it helped Manchester United because we won the game. So I don't have an agenda against players. I have an idea on who I think's a United player and who's not. But if they put in a good performance, they will get the praise. On current form, even Europa League is not guaranteed. Also, bear in mind, teams around us have informed and are buying players in January, says Chuck. I don't... Look, I still think, I know that Rangnick wants a January transfer window. I know that Rangnick wants one. I just think, as things stand at the moment, and it's, look, God, this ain't bloody breaking news. It's Slow Sports News. Slow Sports News with Mark Goldbridge. He's going to give us an update on what's going on at Manchester United with the board. It's Slow Sports News, but he's going to repeat it. I think the board at Manchester United, with Murta and Fletcher and whoever else is advising them on footballing matters, I think their stance is this. We don't want to spend anything. We don't want to let anybody go. We just want to coast it out and hope we get fourth. And then in the summer, we'll sort it all out. And I would say, if you told me now, I can 100% guarantee you're going to get fourth place this season, then I would say, to be honest with you, it probably is better to coast to the summer because you've got more time to assess. You've got more time to change things. But the problem is, nobody can guarantee we're going to get fourth place. And fifth place is a bloody disaster because it's Europa League and that will disintegrate this squad bigger than we are now. I think we don't deserve top four. We don't deserve top four. How are we going to get top four when we don't deserve top four with the same set of players? So it's a huge risk that the club are going to take. I think they want to just stick with what they've got, and that's why they're saying, Donny, can you stay till the summer? Dean, can you stay till the summer? And that's why both of them should be going swivel on it. Pick me or I'm off. We have very good players. The problem is getting them to play together as a unit. We don't do that enough as United Empire. Again, I disagree with you. Some people will agree with you, but again, I disagree with you. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. Let's see if we can get 2,000 likes. I disagree with you. I think we have got good players, but I go back to what we were all discussing in the summer when we bought Varane, when we bought Sancho, even when we got Ronaldo. Where's the midfielder that we needed as a priority? We didn't get the midfielder, and everybody said this team's problem is the midfield. Even before a ball was kicked this season, there was people saying, even Ollie was saying title race in April, and that was the expectation. That's exactly what the expectation should have been because we were second last year. The expectation should have been to be in a title race in April. But when the reality bit in October that we weren't going to be anywhere near one, we all knew why. Because the midfield. We've got good players, but we have an appallingly bad midfield. I've said this before. Don't include Donny in this because he never gets a chance. Matic, McTominay and Fred as a midfield three options. Where are they? What team would they go to and be better than what they've got? Well, you can forget it. Forget the top six straight away. Forget Leicester. Forget Wolves. Forget Villa. You know, how low down the league? Forget Southampton. I think you're getting into the realms of Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley. That's our midfield. We've got a Champions League squad with a relegation battle midfield. And that is why we're struggling. We can't get hold of the midfield. We can't get hold of the midfield. I think Palace's midfield's better than ours, Cameron. I really do. I've spoken about it before. I really don't think our midfield's that good. I think individually you might get a McTominay into one. You might get a Fred into one. But as a collective, that's not a good midfield. They don't work. They just don't work together at all. Anyway, look, we could talk and talk and talk. Friday night, 8 o'clock, is more of a Q&A show and a bit of more interaction. But I'm going to be on Twitch at about 2:45. I'm going to start a bit early tonight. So this afternoon, 2:45 on Twitch, Goldbridge TV. I don't know whether I've put the link in the chat. Yes, I have. Get over there. And Polo FC all over again, says Robbo. Bagel FC as well. So 8 o'clock tonight, and if you want to tune in for a bit of the old United Stand FC journey on FIFA, Goldbridge TV on Twitch. I'll be live in about half an hour or so. I'll see you over there. Thanks everyone for watching. Cracking little show today. I really enjoyed the chat, and speak to you all in a bit. Take care.